And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. North Georgia's only live online morning show is getting close to 9 o'clock. So, there's things that we call bizarro world, and that's what I think we're living in. And it's just one of those days. It's like, I sometimes I don't know really what I'm going to come and do as a show. And I do put a lot of pre-planning into what we do. There are shows where we break some things down and we go deep into some subject matter. But then there's days where, I'm thinking, wait a minute. I was listening to the judge yesterday, or listening to all of the people talking about this judge, this federal judge, that Michael Flynn went before, and then I'm just thinking, is this bizarro world? I mean, are we ever going to fix this mess that they've gotten this country into? We have a president that gets elected for 4 years and then gets elected for 8 years, and we've decided we do not want that branch of government, okay? Hell, let me just say this, all right? So, for those of you out there with an elite college education, and I'm just being a real jackass right now, that you don't quite understand how the three branches of government work: the judicial, executive, and legislative. All right, and I know that was just a real smart-ass remark, but still, yet. Then obviously you haven't watched any of the man on the street shows at some of these great higher communist institutions of learning. But that being said, we took one branch of our government and we said, you know what? Let's see how this works. We took one branch of our government and said we didn't want a king. All right, we didn't want a king. We didn't want anybody to manipulate the system to be able to create a system where they could get elected every time and become king, okay? See, we didn't want Vladimir. It's interesting. I just, something about Vladimir always getting 92% of the vote. Just saying. Something about the guy in Venezuela they just seem to get 92% of the vote. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, if you are that great of a candidate and your approval ratings, could you see ABC? Could you see Chuck Todd and them doing daily approval ratings in Russia? Really? Could you see CNN and MSNBC doing daily approval ratings in China? All right? Their asses would be in jail, right? Now, just come on, back away, damn it. I'm not advocating journalists going to prison. But we took one branch of government. We didn't want a king, all right? So we said, you know what? And this is after, it depends on where you live. You got Roosevelt and you got Roosevelt. And let's have fun, right? You got now that Roosevelt. Now you got Roosevelt and Roosevelt. So not Teddy, you got Roosevelt. The guy that, in a wheelchair. So anyhow, we decided we want our president of the United States to have 2 terms, max. You can run for one, you can run for the second, and then that full branch of government, the executive branch, needs swept out. It needs a new group to come in, whether you like it or not. Okay, so that's what we did there. Then we went over to the Supreme Court, okay, and we made them lifetime. I mean, lifetime, because they are supposed to be neutral, and they're not supposed to ever be elected. There's never supposed to be a campaign finance fund, all right? You can't have a Supreme Court justice ever up on campaign finance charges. There's no campaign, there's no money, there's no vote, nothing. You are there for life, period. You are there until somebody puts a pillow over your face, period, okay? Done deal. So we took the other branch there. And then we said to the big body, all right, the big body, the legislative body with 535 members, it said, now what you need to do is you need to manipulate, corrupt, and be the most corrupt people on the, I'm telling you, most corrupt body right now, possibly on the face of the earth. I know you think that's a stretch. The corruption is the worst there in this body right here. And what you need to do is you need to fix it. Fix it to where there's no way nobody can even run against you. You got so, and then from time to time, we'll slide somebody in to make the American people feel that they're, you know, we can get new blood in there. When we got 30 year, 35 years, 28 years, all right? So we got a body with no expiration date of our government. We got the other body with an 8-year expiration date. And then we got one that the best corrupt politician wins. And what I mean, you know that and I know that, okay? It's a mess, an absolute mess. Because, and I'm telling you, it's bizarro, because out in Arizona, now we're going to take Arizona for just an example really quick. We're going to go Barry Goldwater on your ass, okay? All right, Barry Goldwater on your ass. And I think, I'm doing this from memory, I just do it from memory, all right? I think Barry Goldwater lost to Lyndon B. Johnson Baines. Lyndon Johnson Baines was his middle name. Johnson lost to him. And Johnson did what commercial? The famous commercial of the little girl picking the daisy, the petals off the daisy, and the atomic bomb explosion right in the background scared the whole world that, you know, Barry Goldwater would drop the bomb and your kids would have to hide under a school desk, and Johnson won, if I remember right. So we're going to go back to Barry Goldwater in Arizona, all right? One of the strongest conservatives of a modern conservative, all right? Now, who Barry Goldwater, who made their mark with a speech? Okay, who made their mark with a speech? I think at the convention with Barry Goldwater. Was it the convention? Who did that? Ronald Reagan, right? Ronald Reagan. So coming right out of Arizona, Republican stronghold, Barry Goldwater, Ronald Reagan. He's not from Arizona, but Barry Goldwater, right? No. What did Arizona turn into? Arizona turned into Jeff Flake and John McCain. Now, obviously, John McCain, you know, we owe our men and women in the military all the respect, health care. We should not have homeless vets. Okay, we should not have men and women who have sacrificed, loss of limb, homeless, without anywhere to live. But that does not mean we actually owe you a political office. That cannot change. If you go to serve this country and you come home, there are the highest levels of respect you deserve in so many areas. But a political office is not one of them. That still has to always be something that we vote. We don't give it, we vote, and you win through an election. So we did not owe John McCain a Senate seat. All right? Did not. So Arizona ends up with John McCain, the biggest liberal there is, and Jeff Flake. And we know what happened with Kavanaugh, because today Kavanaugh's been cleared of his ethics or not ethics, was it the violations or the charge, not charges, I don't want to say charges, that were brought up on him on his temperament to serve. He's been cleared of all that, okay? They did a review. He's cleared, all right? But Jeff Flake made a deal with who? Chris Coon of Connecticut for that FBI investigation. Anyhow, that's what Arizona had become, Jeff Flake and John McCain. So Arizona takes it one step further. Now, I never said too much about this lady based on the fact that I did not, I didn't want to get into a tussle. It wasn't my battle to fight. But we're going to go to number 19. There you go. So the blonde that had her teeth bleached there with glasses and is Kristen Sinema, okay? That's not her stage name, folks. Kristen Sinema, all right? She is a Democrat, and she is the new senator from Arizona, and she won against Martha McSally, the lady over on the other side, that first active duty female fighter pilot. I don't want to get it wrong, okay? So all due respect. So you can't trade Jeff Flake with any more. Now, Jeff Flake at one time was the conservative. You can't change Jeff Flake out with any more of an anti-Trump person than Kristen Sinema. All right? Is this deja vu or bizarro world? And the other Arizona senator, Martha McSally, now I don't want to say it's the constellation, right? Consolation, or constellation, that's the stars. But her consolation prize, the one here for losing the governor, is it Kyle? Is it Senator Kyle? John Kyle, is that his name? I don't have anything on the damn screen. I'm just saying from memory. Is it so John Kyle, Senator John Kyle, tell me if I have that right, was appointed by the governor to fill John McCain's Senate term, and he is leaving at the end of the year. So the governor is appointing the loser, Martha McSally, to fill John McCain's Senate seat. Now, the interesting thing about this that I want to tell you is McSally, what I understand politically, is John McCain reincarnated. Reincarnated? Is it whatever? Now, John McCain, military, she's military. But I understand she's a moderate. Don't you love that? Okay? Democrats are just all damn socialists and they know it. Okay? And everybody knows they're lying if they ever said a conservative Democrat. It's not there. Well, Republicans have the Tuesday group. They have the moderates. They have the left-leaning. We have our Susan Collins. A more moderate Republican. What the hell? So there's Arizona. There you go. There you have it. There's your two senators. Two ladies, fine. One Republican, one Democrat, maybe both Democrats. I don't know. But that's what you have in Arizona. Is it a bizarro world? I mean, we had a chance to get Arizona turned back around and become a red state. A real red state. This is what we ended up with. I'm just saying, folks. I mean, I can't say it anymore. Number 18. Okay. What is this guy at the... How come I lost his name? I had it yesterday. The Fed chair. Look up the Federal Reserve chair's name and tell me in my ear, please. I had it yesterday. Number 18, rate hike. Now, Jerome Powell, thank you. Jerome Powell there. Obviously, I don't have to tell you who Jerome Powell is in the split screen picture. We all know the Donald, but Jerome Powell is the Fed chair. Now, I just told you yesterday I won't go into this no deeper than we did yesterday on the show. Jerome Powell, if you think, I just want to tell you, if you think the Federal Reserve has anything to do with the federal government, you're wrong, okay? And I know some people don't take that well. You should read up on that. Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve into existence, okay? The Federal Reserve created all of these. You'll hear the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. You'll hear the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco, I think. Federal Reserve Bank of Denver or whatever. There's, I'm just off the top of my head, you can look it up. There's 8 or 9 across the nation, okay? But they're irrelevant. They created 8 or 9 Federal Reserve banks across the United States. They even named boards, okay? You remember this is why, you know, I'm always cautious. You know, I did like Herman Cain. I like Herman Cain. You know, and he had his 999 plan, and then some lady said, well, Herman, you know, brushed me on the shoulder one day, and then he had to quit the campaign. But remember Herman Cain. Herman Cain, if memory serves me right, he was the chair. He was the chair of the Federal Reserve of Chicago, if I remember right. Tombstone Pizza also. He was CEO of Tombstone Pizza, but he was the chair of the Federal Reserve of Chicago. Okay, so the Federal Reserve. Let me just say this. I won't bore you with it. When they created it, they did not want the American people to think that one area had that much power over the currency of the American people. They knew they could not sell it that way. So what they did is they went and created these, you know, Federal Reserve of Chicago and everything. They created a board. They're useless. They're absolutely useless, okay? Just big buildings, a board. They get together for tea and crackers sometimes. I don't know. You know I'm saying it jokingly, but I'm telling you the truth. And the real truth is there's only the power is centralized in the Federal Reserve. And they do not ask the President of the United States who he would like. Now, you will hear the media tell you that Jerome Powell over there is appointed by Donald Trump. You'll hear say that Paul Volcker was appointed by Jimmy Carter. You'll hear them say, Greenspan, okay? And, you know, if Greenspan farted, you know, because he had a bad burrito, the stock market would crash. All right. And that's not a joke. I'm seriously, everybody would wait for him to come to Capitol Hill, to what he would say. All right. That, just moving right along, is if you think, okay, and people call me conspiracy theory on this, I don't care. If you think Jerome Powell was appointed by Donald Trump, because that's what the media will tell you. Totally. Sorry to be so forceful. You're totally wrong. Jerome Powell was not appointed by anybody. The Federal Reserve tells, you owe them, folks. You owe them. They loan you money. You have no money. There's a shocker for this morning, just right before Christmas. You have no money. They have the currency. You owe them. And guess what? All those years you thought that they were so nice and they were giving you 0 rates to help you out. 4 increases this year. And we went through that. So supposedly there may be another rate hike this coming today. We'll see. I mean, sometimes I'm not up to the minute. It's 9:13 of what's happening. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we can go through the Twitter deck, the President of the United States. We're going to talk about a spending bill. I want to wish some people farewell. This week they'll be leaving Washington and not returning, and I want to wish them a warm farewell. I don't know what I'll say, but We'll be back right after these messages, folks.